Hi, my name is Ben. I'm a certified home inspector, and we're going to perform a home inspection on this house. And every home should be inspected by certified home inspectors so that we can keep our homes safe, functioning, and healthy. And today we're doing a home inspection so that we can give really good, valuable information to the homeowner so that they can make smart decisions about what to do with their home. And especially the one key factor is we can help the homeowner catch small problems before they become too big to fix themselves. So we're gonna check out this home, and I've got some help. I've got Chris here. Let's go meet him.
Ben?
Hey Chris, how are you?
Good.
Chris, you're from TRG Home Inspection.
Yes.
And you're a licensed home inspector?
Yes, sir. I'm a licensed home inspector.
And you are also certified by Internachi?
Yes, sir. Certified professional inspector with Internachi.
Awesome. Thank you so much. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for coming up on 2 years now.
2 years. And you're also a general contractor.
I am.
So you can build homes like this.
Not this big, but I have done home builds in Durham, close by in the area. Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
Awesome.
Home additions, things of that nature. So very familiar with homes, how they function, how they're built, and all the systems of the homes.
Well, thanks for helping me inspect this home.
Absolutely.
What do you do first?
Well, first when I pull up on a home inspection, I usually start on the exterior. I like to get a feel for the home from the outside before I go in.
All right.
Inspect the exterior cladding, the roof, all the exterior systems that are accessible, the grounds, and really see what's going on with the home from the outside. And some of those things sometimes can give me ideas of if I see issues on the inside, I kind of correlate them to what's going on outside the home. So I always start on the outside.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's go around and show me around.
Yes, sir. So we'll start our inspection of the home from the exterior, away from the home a little bit. I like to get a look at the home away from it.
Yeah.
Check the angles, check the corners, get an overall feel for the home.
Yeah.
On this roof here, it's a really high roof today. It's been raining, it's gonna rain again, so the roof is slippery. This roof for me is inaccessible.
Right,
okay?
we're not getting on this roof.
Not this roof.
No, I wouldn't get on this roof.
The slope is a little higher than I would like to be on as well.
Yeah.
So I have a pair of binoculars here. We'll do a visual. I'll visualize any area of the roof I can.
For sure.
The peaks, the flashing, the roof to wall flashing.
Yeah.
I'll look at the gutters, any other flashing that I can visually see from here.
Yep.
Okay.
And we're looking for like missing pieces of shingles also,
missing shingles,
damage,
things that look worn. I try to get a feel for how old the roof may be.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to tell the homeowner how much time it has left, but just that I can judge it. You know, see if it looks like it has granules still left on the roof. If it looks
it's super old,
you'll notice it. It's visual. It's obvious.
Yep.
So on this home here, we've got two roof types. I see metal roofing.
Right.
Small areas here of metal roofing up there. We've also got asphalt roof. So two common roof types in this area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it also just rained. So this is a really good time to get your home inspected. Like, hopefully it's not going to rain on us, but after a rainstorm is really good, right? So that we can see what the water does on a roof.
Absolutely. Some people say, oh, it's raining, you're going to do a home inspection. I actually find that to be a great time to do a home inspection. Not only for the roof, for the grounds around it.
Yeah.
You see things when it's raining that you don't see when it's dry.
Yeah, like puddles.
Puddles, how the sloping is. Sometimes gutters are leaking or things like that. You would never know that if it wasn't raining.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So from here, the roof seems to be in fair shape. No issues noticeably. It does look like the home could be pressure washed a little bit.
Yeah.
So I may mention that. I'll continue around the home, see how it looks. There's a lot of growth around this home.
Yeah.
The plants on this home are, to me, right up against the home.
Yeah.
So I'm going to recommend that these plants are cut back some, especially on the left side of the home. They're actually hitting the front of the home on this side.
Yeah.
As we move down to the exterior, we've got a brick veneer on this home. We also see something else that you don't see a lot around here, and that's this EIFS type of insulation material.
It's a nice detail, but it's a different material. So you're looking at how these two interact with each other.
Correct. So we've got, should have caulking along here. I don't see much here, but it does seem to be very well sealed.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to assume any water's getting back there at this time.
And then I see sealant here. Like
where there is some sealing here. A little bit of cracking, that's expected. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be too bad, so I think I'm okay with the way this
Yeah.
caulking is on here. The screen's intact. The window itself seems to be in very fair shape.
Yep.
I don't see any cracked windows. It doesn't seem to be glazing or foggy to me.
And so when you go around the house, you're checking out like all the windows or as many as you possibly
As
can.
many
'Cause
as
you
I
can't
can.
reach everything.
Right. I can. Again, I got my binoculars.
Yeah.
That gives me the best view of anything that's out of reach.
Yeah.
I do have a ladder, but even the top of this home is outside of the reach of my ladder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just for, like we mentioned before, it's sprinkling now the water issues. We won't be using a ladder today.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
So let's continue on around this side.
Sure.
Still checking the slope.
Yep.
The grounds, everything looks fine. Once again, even in this corner, we got the tree here starting to touch the home. So gonna recommend this side gets cut back.
Yeah.
At the roof line as well. When those trees are moving by the wind, being blown around, they create wear on the home.
Yeah.
Okay. On this side, I'll take a look at the garage doors. They seem to be intact, no dents on the garage doors, so I'll inspect the garage doors overall.
Yeah.
Looking up the face of the home, inspecting the brick for cracks.
Yep.
Anything that may be out of place, okay? This should have lintels over it. They're painted.
Yeah,
okay?
there it is.
So that's good.
Yeah.
They're not rusted. I don't see any cracking. Well, here's a crack here, so we do
What
have
about
one.
that? Yeah.
So
Looks like some cracking at the corner.
We do
and then
have some.
also some step cracking going up.
So I'll get my phone out, get a photo of that. That's going in the report.
Yeah, the crack, you shouldn't have open cracks, right?
Correct.
And if it was really, really bad, that could indicate maybe a major structural problem.
Right. And I'm maybe not looking at it right, but maybe I see that possibly some repairs may have been done.
Yeah.
I do see where it looks like a little bit of mortar was applied in that area. Right up in there, it looks like some mortar was
That's
applied.
a cool tool.
So,
I like that.
oh yeah, I use them all the time, especially when I'm
Instead of using your finger. And
yeah,
jumping
when
up
I'm
there.
walking around with the homeowner after, or the buyer, I'm sorry, whoever it is afterward, when we do our walk around, I always use this to point at things.
Yeah.
I learned really on the pointing and saying, oh, look over here, look over there. They're like, where?
Yeah.
You know, and you hit it exactly with the laser, you tell them where to look.
So what you identified is like maybe the seller knows because they've already had some
Could have
repairs.
potentially have had some repairs there.
Yeah.
So the seller will be aware of that if they had those repairs. If not, I'm going to show them this because they could have bought the home. They could have purchased a home after. This is a 2009.
Okay.
Okay, so it's got a little bit of age on it. Not a lot. It's fine for a
Yeah.
home. But they may not be the original purchasers
Right.
of the home.
Yeah.
And that could have been there and they may not be aware of it.
Yeah. A lot of homeowners don't even look up. So
Never do. They never
don't
do.
even know about this crack.
Right.
You may be
So-
the first person to tell them.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And so this being a pre-listing inspection,
Yeah.
this is what I'm hired for, is to come in, give these clients and the agent heads up on what they may be facing when they go to sell the home.
Yeah.
It also gives them the opportunity to do some repairs ahead of time.
Ahead of time. Yeah. All right. What else should we look
We
at?
check exterior lighting.
Yep.
I've gone in, I've turned on all the lights.
Yep.
Also, you want to check exterior lighting while you're on the exterior of the home.
Yeah.
Looking at vents, these vents, there's one there. There's another one on the side over here. I don't see grills on them. So I'm going to recommend that they put some type of grill cover over those, depending on what they are. We don't want that on the dryer vent. So I'll have to kind of correlate with which vent it is from the inside to recommend which ones.
So
should
if
have
it's a
cover.
dryer vent, you don't want a screen on the
Correct.
outside.
You're going to
of
trap
lint.
all that lint.
Yeah.
And it kind of affects the ability of the dryer
Yep.
to breathe,
Yeah.
to exhaust its
Yep.
air. And it slows down the cooling of the dryer.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, we don't want birds nesting in those.
Right.
I've seen birds nesting in those that don't have screens on.
Yeah.
So that's why we recommend screens
Yep.
on them. Let's head to the back here. In this area, we've got our exterior condenser units for the HVACs
Yep.
and our electrical panels to your left. This is some of the other systems we normally see on the outside of a home.
Yeah.
And so I do these before I even go in.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and inspect them. For
What
example,
do you check out? What do you look at?
I'm checking the insulation
Yeah.
on the suction lines. They all should have good insulation on them.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll see this insulation has begun to deteriorate.
Yep.
And it can affect, an example here, this one is deteriorating,
Yeah.
starting to open up.
Yep.
Okay, I'll check the disconnect switches.
Yep.
If the unit's running, I'll listen to it run.
Yep.
Look inside, see if it's a heat pump. Try to
Yep.
identify the unit as best I can from outside.
Yeah.
I'll take a photo of the data tag.
Yeah.
so that I can date the unit. And I don't normally try to recommend or see if it's adequately sized.
Right.
That's a little beyond the scope of a home inspection.
Right.
But what I'll do is
It should have been done that when it was installed.
Correct.
Probably, yeah.
Installed and inspected by the city.
Yeah.
They should have done all that.
Yeah.
So I don't really worry about that too much. What I do is I do provide a date for the homeowner. I like them to know how old those units are.
Yeah.
When they're buying them, that sometimes they don't always know. If they're buying a home, they have no idea how old the units are.
That's right.
And if you can still read the tag, right?
That's right.
We've seen some where you can't read the tag, and so
that's a really old one.
Yeah, that's going to be an old one.
So that one sounds right.
This sounds great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
It's humming. It's not rattling.
They're all level.
Yep.
None of them are leaning.
Yeah.
You don't hear rattling in it. The fan seems to be smooth.
Yep.
Sometimes you can hear them. They'll have a little noise in them, and they'll be off balance a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not excessively rusted on the outside as well. The outer condition, the fins seem to be all. They're not dented.
Straight.
They're not dinged. They're not clogged.
Yep.
They're clean.
Yep.
They've got grills protected them.
Yep.
So from a glance here, everything seems to be fine.
That's right. Oh, cool.
So these are our areas of our electrical panels. We've got a whole home backup system here. I will not inspect the whole home backup system. So this entire Generac panel here for me, it does say service disconnect, or I'm sure it said that. The main service disconnect for the home usually is in this panel. I will open it just to verify that the disconnect is there. But as for testing, anything to do with this Generac system, I won't touch.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and, let's pull this panel here.
Okay. I think this is really complicated. Do you have any idea what's going on here?
I have some idea. Let me see if I can explain it to you. So we have a whole home backup Generac system, which starts with, the service comes in from the city.
Yep.
Feeds the Generac panel. The Generac panel controls both the other panels.
Okay.
We have a 400 amp service here, just due to the size of the home.
Yeah.
Okay. 200 amps is a little undersized for a home of this size. So this is our main panel breaker for the entire home. For both panels.
Yeah, these two.
From here, it feeds both individual 200 amp panels.
Let's see here, like that.
You just push it up, it'll drop down.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. And so we've got our other main panels, so to speak, that's controlled by this one.
Yeah.
Okay, each panel is a 200 amp panel, controls sections of the home, and each one I can see from here has a sub panel. So we're going to have other panels inside the home somewhere. It looks like we got a sub panel here. We got a car charger, all our 3 AC units here, and we got 2 sub panels, an outside and a sub panel B over there. So
an oven and a basement heater. So these are like main disconnects. That's the big 400.
Correct. This will kill everything.
Yeah.
This will kill everything on this panel.
Yep.
This will shut off everything on that panel.
And this is important for the homeowner to know in case of an emergency.
Exactly.
Or
they got to
something
know
needs
where
be
to reset breakers, shut off sections of the home if needed.
Yep.
Okay.
Great.
Back
and then
on.
there's a generator. I can see it's gas supplied.
This is a gas backup generator, which should kick in almost instantly if this panel here detects a loss of power.
Right.
And then that will feed those 2 panels.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
Sounds good.
We do have a gas meter here as well. So let's talk about the gas meter a little bit. When I'm inspecting the gas meter, I first look at the condition of it.
Yep.
How is it? Is there any corrosion on it?
No.
It seems to be fine. No corrosion. Check the main shutoff. I'm not going to actually shut it off, but it's located there.
Yep.
And then that goes in the report.
Yep.
From here, it's also a good area to see if it's bonded.
Yep.
Okay. Usually they're bonded at the meter.
Yep. I see it.
We've got We've got a bonding wire attached right there.
Yep.
It looks like it goes into the wall.
Yep.
So I'm not going to be able to see where it connects into the panel, but it's there. That's all I'm going to be able to see of it. So I'll mark it as bonded.
That's right. That's right.
Everything out here to me seems to be good. We've got everything run in waterproof duct the way it should be. All the panels are tight. Nothing's loose.
Yeah.
Everything's labeled on the inside. To me, this area is okay.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Let's get this panel back on. So here we have a service disconnect for the units. I usually open these up and I inspect these as well. I have before seen where these are wired wrong and everything looks fine in them and they're not. So I'll pull this panel off here so I can actually see the wiring on the inside. Make sure our wires are grounded there, which they are, and we've got our feeds, one in each connection point there. So this disconnect panel seems to be wired correctly to me. So everything's okay with this one. So I'll do that same inspection on every one of them. As I walk around the back, this lot has a lot of growth on it, which is nice, but you want to make sure, like I mentioned earlier, that it's not against the home, that it's not affecting the drainage.
Yeah.
We have a gravel, more of a gravel type walkway here. I inspect the walkway. Looks like we're coming up onto a patio here, so I'll take a look at the patio. Look for any major sinking of areas in the patio. Sometimes with these patios, they'll sink in. As I say that, it's a little uneven here against the house, but that may have been done by design.
Ideally, you want all
you want a good
surfaces
slope,
sloped.
yeah. And so I'm inspecting the slope now visually.
I see. I think we've got a problem with the gutter up there.
Absolutely. So we've got a leak coming down from the gutter. It's hitting the steps here. There's a lot of growth, not growth, there's some pine needles in the gutter up there. So in those pine needles, that can be affecting the gutter. That could be affecting the flow. To me, it's the pine needles are overflowing the gutter. So that's obviously going to affect the flow. Maybe the water that's collecting in this end of the gutter is having trouble flowing down through the pine needles, which continue around. Okay, let me see if I can get my...
And now we've got, during a rainstorm, it's not that heavy. During a regular rainstorm, we got a ton of water dumping right where we don't want.
Exactly.
Right
we
next
want
to the
that
house.
water to follow the gutter down to the downspout.
Yeah, and then
so
get it away.
Because of those pine needles in there, we've got a tree touching the home up here.
That's not good.
So we want to get these limbs cut back. I always recommend at least 10 to 15 feet away from the home.
Yeah.
We don't want things falling on the home either if they break loose.
Right.
So it looks to me like these gutters definitely need to be cleaned.
Yep.
So we're going to recommend cleaning the gutters here.
And again, good time for a home inspection.
Absolutely. The rain doesn't bother me one bit. I'll do my inspection of the GFCI exterior outlets.
Yeah.
Check for the weatherproof cover is intact. It opens fine. I've got my outlet tester here.
Yep.
This is a GFCI, so it should trip when I do it. First, I'll wait for my green light there. That'll tell me if I have any outlet faults.
Yep.
No faults, I'll go ahead and trip it, and it tripped right away.
Awesome.
So let's go ahead and reset
That's
that
a
one.
safety device that should be on all exterior
outlets.
Yeah.
So even in the garage, exterior outlets should all be protected.
Yeah.
Okay. So as we continue on, it's transitioned from gravel to a patio to more of a stone walkway. So a lot going on here. These stones to me seem to all be pretty well set. Sometimes you want to look for stones that are loose. It could be a tripping hazard.
Now this is termite bait.
Yes, we've got termite baits. We've got one there. We've got another one there, located all around the home.
Yeah.
So that tells me that they've done some preventative maintenance or type of things by hiring a termite contractor to come out and bait their home.
Yeah. Either maybe there was infestation already in there.
Correct. They could have found it, and then they treated it and they recommended those. Sometimes on homes you never see them. It's like, we don't know.
Right, right, yeah.
Yeah, it's always great. So I inspect the condition of the downspout. Take a look, see how well it's connected to the home. If it's a little lower at this point, I'll give it a little shake. Make sure it's all nice and tight. One thing I'm noting here is we've got some underground drainage. So you always want to be able to find where those terminate.
Yeah.
Those plastic vinyl drainage tubes, once they're underground, we don't know what's going on with them.
Yep.
They can collapse, they can get clogged. I always recommend that the home buyer or seller or whoever it is, find out where the ends of those are. Make sure they're draining clearly. I see this one here, but this one I can see. I can't see all the other, and I'm still going to recommend on my report as kind of a backup to me that they verify all of them on the home, because as a home inspector, I'm not going to go find every one of these.
That's right.
I can see this one.
Yep.
I can see water coming out of it.
Yep.
But there may be one that I'm not even going to go. If I can't turn around and see it, I'm not going.
Yep.
It's outside of what I'm here to do.
Yeah, we can only see so much. It's just like the roof. You can't go up on the roof today. That's an inspection restriction. Things that are buried underground,
You never were.
another inspection
Absolutely.
restriction. But I noticed that this is like 20 feet away from the house. That's how far we need homeowners to get their water away from the
Absolutely,
house.
Absolutely. The further the better.
Yeah.
The further the better.
Yeah.
Minimum 6 feet.
Yeah, and I'm looking back while you're talking. There's a waterfall going on with that gutter.
Yeah, a lot of water coming
It's
down
just
now.
dumping on
As the roof has started to direct the water to that area,
Yep.
That's obviously blocked gutters.
No good.
No good. No good. So let's head on out the fence here.
All
so
right.
I see an issue here.
Yep.
We've got some washout here.
Yep.
Looks like maybe even a stone may have slid down a little bit.
For sure.
I don't think that's where they put that stone.
No.
So it looks like we may have lost the stone there.
I think it's that gutter. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
that
a
is.
river.
That's the water from the gutter.
Yep.
And so
It's just the river washing away all the nice stones.
I may recommend now, seeing that,
Yeah.
that they even redirect that.
Yep.
Maybe even bring it out here a little bit further so that it doesn't affect their walkway here. So let's head on down here.
Yep.
As we come around to this side of the home, one thing I see right away is a retaining wall.
Yeah.
So we've got a retaining wall here, and it's connected to the home. And so we want to inspect this retaining wall.
What are we looking for?
I'm looking for obvious bulging
Yeah.
of the retaining wall. Any areas it looks like excessive water is penetrating through the retaining wall.
Yeah.
Things that to me would tell me that it's not structurally sound.
Yeah. This looks pretty good.
Looks great.
Doesn't
Looks
look too
great.
bad.
Coming around the curve, everything looks nice and
Yep.
level. I don't see a lot of water coming through the
Yep.
brick. It all seems, and it's got a nice slant leaning towards what it's holding back.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that all seems to be great. This exterior fireplace will not be inspected. Nice, although it won't be inspected.
Yep.
The patio here, I'll start with another patio inspection. We've got pavers laid out here to a patio. Seems to be holding a little water in this area.
Right.
So may not be perfectly level or perfectly sloping the way it should be. So I'll get a photo of this water puddling here just to show the homeowner, and recommend, if they like, to have it regraded.
Yeah.
Not an easy thing to do with a patio this nice, but it can be done.
That's right.
As I take a look at the side of the home, once again, I'll start and I'll look up the wall. I'll shift over a little bit, look up and down the wall. We've got another small piece of metal roofing here.
Yep.
We've got decorative shutters.
Yep.
And more of that same insulating type of foam.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive that's kind of like a eaves system.
Yeah.
And they're using it on this side of the home as a window trim. And what tells me that is when I knock on it, it almost sounds hollow.
Yeah.
On the fronts.
Yep.
Okay. Checking the caulking. The same things we checked on the front of the home, we're checking here. And
It
this
looks
is
like
protected.
down here, it looks like there's some missing mortar.
Absolutely. So
Got to fill that up so water doesn't go in.
yeah, we'll definitely recommend the mortar repair here, that someone comes in and touches that mortar up so that water doesn't get in there and affect the brick, the foundation in this area.
We've said a lot about water on the outside. I mean, from the roof, downspout, gutters, grading, trim. I mean, it's a lot about water. We don't want that water to go in the house.
Water is the worst enemy
Yeah.
of a home,
Yeah.
followed by time.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
So the water is what's going to get to it really quick.
Yep.
Here's another gutter downspout here. It looks like it heads
way
way
down
over
there.
there. So that's
Yeah.
great. This one's going way over there. I'm not going to go out there to check it.
Right.
This is why I just recommend that the homeowner checks
Yep.
it. Okay.
And that's a radon fan.
We've got radon mitigation system here.
Yeah.
So it should have a indicator on the inside of it
Yep.
operating.
Yep.
So I will check that as I'm here.
Yeah.
I also going to recommend that they have a radon test done.
Yep.
That before they list the home, that they go back and have that radon test redone.
And radon is a naturally occurring gas.
Naturally
second
occurring
leading
gas.
cause of lung cancer.
Absolutely.
And you
present
don't know.
everywhere.
You don't know if you have it until you test
get-
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that their system's working
Yeah.
fine for them.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's been there, but I'm
Yeah.
going to recommend we do a radon test as
Yeah.
well, so they have those numbers.
For sure. For sure.
Small walkway here and another exterior door. All exterior doors are inspected. Make sure that they're sound, that nothing's leaking through. I check the weather stripping on them, and the door condition itself. Make sure that it opens, closes fine. The locks, everything's nice and tight. The door's not damaged. I can hear that radon fan running.
Yeah.
So it is running and operating now, which it should be running at all times.
Yeah.
Another retaining wall here. So we'll do the same inspection on this wall that we did on the other wall. I kind of like to get beside them. They always curve back just a little bit. Maybe every layer, they go back about a ½ inch, 3/4 inch to an inch with every successive layer.
So hold back that dirt.
Yeah, and if this were to fall or anything, that definitely could compromise the home. We don't want this wall coming off or falling back. As it comes around here, everything seems to be fine. Looking up there, we've got a lot of plant contact with the home on this side of the home.
Yeah, right. Even vines crawling up.
Vines starting to. We've got some mildew starting to grow on the home on this side.
Right.
So this may be the shaded side of the home.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely recommend cleaning there. That can affect the paint over time and really start to wear that paint down. Looking all the way up to the soffit, I see they've got their radon venting just under the soffit. Which is, I believe at this height should be fine. It's well above where anyone would be walking.
That's right.
I'm gonna step back and take a look at the roof from this side. See if I can see some things that I didn't see from the front of the home. So we can see this side, we've got a plumbing vent stack and what looks to be an exhaust vent on the roof. So looking at the peaks, the shingles that I can see from here, I don't see any missing shingles. And the gutter is nice and it's slanted the way it should be, but it seems to be attached fine. Also some vines located on this side of the home as well. If you look at the top left there, we'll see some more vines up there that are still present. So I'm gonna recommend that they get those removed. This side of the home to me seems to be in good shape.
That's right. I agree. All right, let's keep going.
You wanna go inside? All right, so we're gonna start the interior inspection. Of course, I'm gonna start with the front door here. Make sure that the front door is in good shape. And so I wanna make sure that both doors actually work for the seller. I'm sure he hasn't opened this door in a while. So same as the other door, all exterior doors, I'm gonna check the weather stripping, the condition of the door, take a look at the hinges on both sides. A little pinching on the hinges up there, but it's not bad. This door operates, everything's looking good for the exterior door. Got some weather stripping here, also in good shape. As we come into the home, the first thing I do is kind of get an observation for everything. I start looking at the flooring, see what type of flooring we have. We've got a staircase here, we've got the kitchen over there. I got to get a layout for the home to kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do. So I always start at the lowest level of the home, personally, and just work my way up. I turn all the lights on, they're already on, and my system is as I finish an area, I kind of turn the lights off. And that tells me I'm done with that area. Okay. So let's start on the lower floor.
Let's do it.
Let's work our way up as I do in all my inspections. This one does have a basement in it. So let's start with the basement.
And what's your first thing down in the basement?
Well, usually once I get to a level of the home, I don't really have a preference. I just kind of work that level until I'm finished. So let's just go right.
Sounds good.
And we'll see what we find.
I've
got my trusty flashlight. The most important tool of any home inspection is a flashlight. So I'll take a look at the condition of the floor, see if anything looks abnormal with the floor in this area.
Like water, maybe.
Water, unevenness, damage. All of those things I'm looking at the floor. The floor, to me, we've got a vinyl floor here. Everything seems to be fine. I walk the floor. I let my feet feel sometimes. See if I can feel anything with my feet. Sometimes if I have shoes on, sometimes I won't notice those things. But when you don't have your shoes on, a lot of times you can find those things. I'll test some of the outlets. This is a lot of outlets to test here. So I probably won't test 100% of the outlets in the home, but I will definitely get 75% of the outlets in the home. Some of the issues you can see with outlets are broken pins from appliances, things left in the outlet. So they're blocked. I've seen blocked outlets, loose outlets, outlets that give electrical errors such as no ground or reverse neutral. Those are all different electrical issues that you can find with outlets that I recommend on my report. Will recommend to an electrician.
And just looking at it, it looks just fine, but you need somebody to test it.
You need a tester because looking at them, like I said, they can look fine, but that doesn't mean anything.
And what you really don't want to see if you're looking at it is like melting or scorching. That'd be really bad.
Right. Don't want to see black marks, melted outlets. That's an obvious sign of an electrical issue or a short that could have occurred and simply damage that outlet, and that outlet needs to be replaced. So let's go ahead and do our interior window inspection. I do inspect the same. I'll get to at least 75% of the windows in this home will get opened and inspected. So we've got a wooden window here. Raise the window, make sure it's operating. It can maintain its own weight in the open position. Just give the screen a light push. Everything seems to be set here. The window itself, this is exterior condensation. So with the weather we're having today, there's going to be a lot of condensation on the windows. So it's going to be difficult to tell if a window has lost its seal. Sometimes these windows can lose their seal and they'll have what looks like condensation in between the panes. I'm going to try my best to see if I can find any windows that are in that condition today. There may not be any, but this window seems to be well. We checked the locking mechanism as well. Everything's fine on this window. Cool. The blind is not necessarily part of a home inspection, but since I'm here, I like to look at them anyway. I'm moving it to get to the window, so I might as well look at it and see if it's damaged. If so, as a courtesy, I'll go ahead and add that to the report. Okay. Exterior door here, looks like we got some interior blinds. I'll go ahead and manipulate those because this is more part of the door, and so I want to make sure there's no issues with that, and that they raise and lower. Seem to be working fine. Okay. I'll go ahead and open this door. We've got another fridge door set up here. Let's make sure both doors are operating. Okay. And both doors are operating. Weather stripping looks fine. Check the threshold. Everything's okay with this door.
And I don't see any wood rot.
No wood rot. This seems to be a recently, I think this door's been replaced recently.
Sure.
It almost seems brand new to me. I don't normally lift larger rugs up, but smaller rugs, I'll give them a little lift just to see if I see anything under them.
Yeah.
A lot of times on homes, especially like on porches and things, they'll have plants strategically placed.
Yeah.
I like to move smaller things around. If it's a 10 by 10 or larger rug, I may lift a corner, but I don't bother. It's
home inspectors, we don't lift furniture or move carpeting. Or
correct.
Like
it's
that.
A visual inspection, things that are readily visible without having to do a lot of that. Okay. So let's check one more outlet over here. Let's go. I probably use that one with the TV often, so let's try that one there. Let's turn that back on. And we got a green light, so we're good there. Let's just continue straight in this direction.
Yep.
Light switches, I do check all light switches to make sure they operate. That one's working the fan. That all light switches and remotes that are present are operating. Kind of the same here. We've got some cabinetry and a sink over here.
Yeah.
Kind of a wet bar set up here. So we'll check all cabinets, make sure they're securely fastened. We've got an outlet under the sink. This should be a GFCI outlet located under the sink here.
It also has a pump.
We've got a pump here, right. And so assuming there's no drainage that was here when the home was built.
Yep.
So they may have had this added and installed this pump system to be able to get a sink here.
So everything drains in there and then there's a float and then it discharges it somewhere in the sewer line.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So let's check this outlet while we're here.
Yep.
I've got some plugs here, kind of harder to get to. So I want to test this plug. So we have no power here now. There we go there. Ooh. So that was actually off. It's a good thing that I turned it on because if they would have been using the sink, it would have just started backing up. So it does operate. So that's good. I can let the homeowner, because this is a listing inspection, know that his pump system here is working fine. I'll go ahead and test the outlet real quick. And it did trip just as it should have. Cool. We've got a small wine refrigerator here. I don't normally do a lot of documenting with them, because sometimes I don't know if they're staying or going, if they're going to transfer to the new owner. But since they're here, I just open them, put my hand in there. It feels cool. We don't test for temperature to try to make sure it's at a certain temperature, or it's at the temperature it says it's at. If it's cool, that's good enough for me. Let's head on into this area here. All doors in the home are tested to make sure they latch and they operate fine.
Okay.
The door handle is working fine. It's nice and tight. So I'll just close it, latched. Make sure that it latched. The striking mechanisms are lined up.
Yeah.
Okay. The door itself seems to be in good shape. No visible damage to the door. We've got some carpet coming into this theater room here. I'm going to use my flashlight a little bit so we can see. It's a little dark in here. Kind of walk around, inspect the carpet, inspect the conditions of the walls, inspect the conditions of the ceilings. Looking for any major damage. I will not test this screen system here. That's really has nothing to do with the home inspection.
Right.
Same for these speakers, the sound system that's in here. That won't be inspected.
Yeah.
I'm going to inspect the functional parts of the home, the walls, the floors, the ceiling, the electrical systems, to make sure that they're all working as they were designed.
Yeah. The entertainment system, that's beyond the scope of a home inspection.
Absolutely. Entertainment system is beyond the scope of a home inspection.
And the homeowner will probably have like little tips on how to
They've all got their own
system.
you got to hold it this way, or push the button for 2 seconds. So I would never know how to operate this, and it would be probably a waste of my time. So I check all the lights. The light fixtures that are here are working. So all light fixtures that are present should be working.
Cool.
Okay.
Hey, Chris, I noticed this. What is this?
That's part of the air conditioning, the circulation distribution system for the air conditioning. So we've got a filter in there. This is a return air for the HVAC unit. And so it should have a filter in it if it doesn't have a main filter at the unit. Looks like they have a filter here. We got a 20 by 20. I do put those sizes in my reports as a courtesy for the seller or buyer, so they know their filter size and recommend changing. This one's clean.
And
but it's backwards. So they tell you which direction they should face with the airflow. So you definitely want those filters installed correctly.
So the air is going in this way and being filtered correctly now instead of incorrectly.
Now it is.
Awesome.
We've got a thermostat on the wall here to control the air and heating. So I will make sure these work. Depending on the type of heat system or cooling and the time of the year it is, we may or may not operate the heating or cooling. Right now we're at about, I believe we're less than 80 degrees outside. I'm assuming we're gonna have gas heat systems when I get to them. And so I may test the heat on this home to make sure that it's functioning and producing good heat. I measure the heat at each register, so we'll look at that once we get to it. Switches work. We do have a carbon monoxide detector wall mounted here. I like to see them mounted a little higher, but there's some dispute about where carbon monoxide detectors can be mounted. Some people say, oh, they're fine low, or they need to be up high. I've read online that carbon monoxide diffuses at an equal rate, and it doesn't matter where they are. And as a home inspector, I just want to make sure there's one there. So. Same for smoke detectors. We got a smoke detector overhead. Let's do a quick bathroom inspection. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
So why don't you take us through? What do you do in a bathroom?
Well, we got our bathroom here. I walk in. We're going to test all plumbing supplies, drainage, fixtures, everything in the bathroom. So I'm going to run the water. We're going to run the water. We're going to start with the hot. I always like to start with the hot. Make sure we're getting hot water at every fixture and cold water at every fixture that's designed for that. I check the holders and make sure they're tight. We give the toilet a shake. Make sure that it's tightly mounted. We flush the toilet. I'll flush it multiple times. I'll probably flush it 3 or 4 times. Sometimes it takes a couple flushes to get those leaks to really start showing themselves. I've seen toilet leaks in brand new homes. They're selling the client the home like, yeah, you're ready to move in, but the toilet's leaking. So we've got some hot water here. I'll check the temperature of the water, make sure that it's not too hot. We don't want our water temperature to be above 120 degrees. This water temperature here is really, it's well below 120, so there's no issue of any burns or anything here. I'll check the caulking around the countertop. This one's seems to be caulked very well. So the sink is is flowing. The drain will fill the drain. There's no moisture on the drain here. Inspect visually the supply lines, all cabinets that are here. So everything's fine there. I'll go ahead and flush the toilet again. Take a quick look inside of it, lift up the seats. I've seen damaged toilet seats where they're chipped or they're broken, and you really would not know that if you didn't lift the seat and take a look at it. Into the bathtub, I will check caulking. We should have caulking around the tub, which we do. I like to see caulking inside the bathtub as well, around the where the tile is. This one seems to just be done on the inside and the inside corners with just a mortar. So I'm going to recommend that they go back on the all inside corners and use a silicone. Either a caulk silicone mixture or a pure silicone in these areas. Caulking, mortar cracks easily. It'll crack and it'll have small cracks in them, and that's space for water to get in. There's a lot more movement allowed when you use a silicone in those corners. So let's shake the faucets. Let's shake the shower head. Everything's nice and tight. Let's go ahead and turn the water on to hot. Let's give it a minute. Let's shake the holder there. This one's loose. So we've got a loose holder here. When they're loose like that, they don't take much to come off the wall. And before you know it, you'll hang a towel or two, it'll be on the floor. And so I'm gonna recommend that they get this tightened up. Look for leaks around the connections. No leaks, everything's fine. We'll get cold water. We've got cold. Check the drain. Give it a second. It's holding water. Good. Open that up. And I like to wait here for a minute and see if that shower diverter knob drops back down. All right.
All right, Chris. Come on in this unfinished part of the basement. We're in the basement's almost all finished, but we're in an unfinished part. And this allows a home inspector, this is my favorite part, the unfinished basement, because I can see what's going on. Floor, insulation, and the foundation, and things like that. What do you see? What do you want to look at?
First thing I look at as I come in, I always start down. My eyes naturally go down and work up. Take a quick look at the floor. Yeah. Any major cracks, any major issues seem to be present with the floor.
Right.
Everything seems to be fine with me.
Yeah.
No major cracks, pitting, damage looking to the floor. I'll start moving up. Let's look at the walls here.
Yeah.
As we come around this side here, I see an outlet with no cover plate. That's a kind of safety issue there. We don't want anything getting back in there to those live wires. So I'm going to recommend a cover plate be added to that. Take a look at the wall, the foundation wall. This is poured concrete foundation wall. Looking for cracks, any major bulging, chips, anything seem to be falling apart. Seems to be fine to me. Above head, we start to see some plumbing. Some PVC plumbing. We've got our lights. We can see the insulation and the floor joists. These are I-beam manufactured floor joists.
Yep.
They seem to be okay. I can't visually.
It's hard to see everything.
Yeah, you've only got a few inches of those beams that you can see.
Yeah.
And the inches that I can see, everything looks fine.
And Chris, I was a radon mitigation system installer for a while, and I know what this is. So they have that radon fan outside. Remember we saw that? And they sealed up the space in between the foundation wall and the floor, so that's a nice airtight suction going on underneath the basement concrete.
Right. It's not pulling air from the home. It's pulling everything from under.
Yeah, getting that radon out.
Trying to get it out as much as possible. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's head over this way a little bit. I'll show you a little bit of this supply line here. This seems to be the whole home supply line coming through the foundation wall here.
Yeah.
And right above that, we've got the drain.
Okay.
So we've got a whole home shut-off valve here. If they have any issues, they can come over here, shut their water off.
This is water coming into the house.
Yes, water supply. So they can shut it off here. Right behind that, we've got a water pressure regulator.
Yeah.
And so that regulator regulates the water pressure in the home.
And I hear water running.
That sound there on this side over here, we're in the basement. We've got a pump here pumping the water out.
Okay.
So you probably hear the tub running. We're filling this. We're testing the drain, the pump system here, making sure that it's pumping fine. We've got a control system here. Looks like it's set in silence. It should be in normal. We want that alarm to go off if any issues.
Oh, it's on silence. So if you go on horn and then test it. Okay.
Yeah, there it is right there.
So this is on silence and it should be on horn. And anybody can test the horn by pushing this button. And that's a bad signal. So you always want it on horn so that the alarm, if there's any problems, turns on. And it would turn on if that pump down there doesn't work. And man, you want that pump to work because the toilet drains in there and you want that functioning just right so it discharges out and doesn't fill up.
So
that's supposed to tell the homeowner
there's
something wrong.
And get down here quick.
With that.
Right. Call somebody.
So again, like we saw the water coming in and the water going out. The drain going out was like above our heads. So the toilet in the bathroom and the shower and the sink can't drain by gravity up there. So it drains down here, right? Mm-hmm. And then it does what?
There's a float in there.
Yeah.
And so it fills this basin. This basin fills and there's floats in there.
Yeah.
And so when these floats get to a certain level, it'll kick on the pump.
Yeah.
And this is a type of emaciating pump that's going to grind and churn up anything that's in there and send it out to the
And that's what's happening here. It's going, I can feel it when it kicks on.
You can feel it and you can hear it as well. And you can hear it going down the drain pipe.
And you're running, there it goes.
Hot water.
Hot water. So you know it's this one. This is the discharge, and it just discharged.
It did.
I'll be darned.
It seems to be functioning fine.
Yeah,
I've let it cycle through at least 2 or 3 cycles here of filling, pumping, and getting that water out of there. So
you shouldn't smell any odors.
Absolutely. That's why they got this sealed around here. You don't want any of that sewage gas coming out.
I see.
We do have a small area here in this rubber grommet where the wires go through. Yep. Just a little bit here. So I'll recommend that they seal this a little tighter.
Okay, cool.
Maybe a drip or 2 of silicone should do that just fine.
Yep. All right. I get it.
All right, so coming in, we start our heat, another section of our heating and cooling inspection. We've got our furnace systems here. I'll start by inspecting the pan. I like to see if any evidence of water in the pan. Looks like we got some minor things, nothing to be concerned about in the pans here. We've got our condensate pump here. So as our air conditioning running, our coils here are going to produce a lot of condensation. They're going to fill this small basin here, and it's going to pump the water out on a cycle as it fills.
Through this tube.
Yeah, I'll follow this tube up. I like to kind of see where it goes. Let me see if I can. I can't. This one kind of disappears into the ceiling up there, and there it goes there. And it's draining exterior. I make sure it's not plumbed into the home drainage system.
Yeah.
And so on the exterior, I'll be able to locate, and that's the one from this system here. We've got 2 right there. And they're on the exterior on this side. It seems to be pointing to this direction. So I look on the exterior of the home, I'm going to want to see 2 small white PVC tubes where this condensation drains out.
And I found those 2 pipes that Chris found coming from the 2 units that have condensate. And there they are. They come out of the house and they discharge. The problem is they discharge a ton of condensate water right next to the house foundation. We want that water far away. So it works, but we got to get it away from the house. So we need some extension pipes to get that condensate water away from the house. And I like the pan just in case there's a leak, because like you said, when the air conditioner is on, all air conditioner units produce condensate. And if this pump fails or something, it's going to catch the water, because this is a nice finished basement.
Right. We don't want any water flooding down here. So it's going to flip that float sensor there or water detector, and it's going to shut the system off.
Yeah. So it doesn't flood anything.
Yes. If it can't get the water out, it's going to shut it off.
Great.
Coming around here, I'll take a look at the cabinet, the condition of the cabinet overall. These seems to be fairly newer units. I will, again, take a picture of the information tag here, date the unit. For the home owners or buyers, whichever it may be. Inspect the cabinet, any dents, dings, any major issues with it. We've got a filter system here. I'll open it. We've got a 16 by 25 by 4 filter here. These filters here can serve as your whole home filter. So you may not necessarily see filters around the home if you have a filter here. I'm going to pull it out and take a look at it. This one, to me, seems that it could be in need of replacing. It's fairly dirty.
Yeah.
So definitely going to recommend that they replace this filter. I'm going to put it back just because that's where it was, and you know, why not? But I will definitely recommend replacing that.
Yeah.
And so put the filter back.
And Chris, this is a gas-fired furnace.
It is.
Right?
It is.
I see the gas line here.
And so I'll do a quick look at the gas line. We'll make sure that going into the cabinet, we've got a solid gas line. We've got a drip leg here, and then we've got an appliance cable here. This is our shutoff switch for the gas for this unit only. Looks like we got a black CSST supply line.
Yep.
Seems to be mounted well to the wall.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll take a quick look overhead at some of the ductwork. Ductwork seems to be in good shape, fairly new.
Yep.
The insulation on it's fine. None of it seems to
looks
be
really
loose.
nice, actually.
Yeah, it does. Looks actually great. It's all hung, supported. Nothing seems to be unsupported or overly tightened as well. You want to make sure that this ductwork is not compressed in any areas so that the air can flow through it. Right. Some of the bends, you don't want to see too great of angles on this ductwork.
Yeah. So for the homeowner, there's a couple basic things.
Yes, sir.
Always looking for water in this catch pan. There never should be. It should always be
never
dry.
should be water in that pan.
There's a shutoff valve for the gas. There's an electric shutoff to get to the air filter, and the air filter is right there.
Right, and this is more of a disconnect switch, a shutoff for the furnace.
Yep.
In case they have to service it or anything, they can shut off power to it there.
Yep. Okay, cool. All right, Chris, we're here in the kitchen. It's a beautiful kitchen.
It is.
What do you do? Walk me through your inspection process.
So for kitchens, same as everything else, I'll start at the bottom, work my way up, take a look at the floor.
Looks good.
See how everything, we got a
Beautiful
nice tile here. Just kind of looking for cracked tiles. Sometimes you can see cracked tiles, chipped tiles. The grout has started to fail. It's flaking out of the floor.
And
none of that going on here.
Sometimes I'll just knock on it, and if it's a hollow sound, that's a bad thing.
Absolutely. Some of them may be missing mortar in that area, and that definitely weakens the tile if there's no mortar under it. I'll look at the countertop. Looks like we got a nice natural stone here. So I'll kind of look for cracks. A lot of times where they've machined them and they've made these holes for the faucets, these are weak points in them. And so sometimes you'll see cracks develop around those areas. So I really like to pay attention in those areas. Look at the caulking along the backsplash. Make sure we've got a nice caulking or grout something there. Here I'm going to recommend more of a silicone type caulking be applied. Countertops overall look good. We got a dishwasher. I'll open it up.
Do you run those?
I do. I run all the dishwashers. Before I turn them on, I don't know why I have an issue. I got to make sure they're connected. So I like to look under the sink. A lot going on under this sink.
That's a reverse osmosis system. That's a water filtering system for this fella right here.
So they've got a way to get really pure water.
Really clean water coming right out of this.
You must not trust the city water.
I wouldn't either. But that has to be maintained regularly. Those filters can go bad and you don't want to be drinking bad water.
So I will turn this on. I'll just give it just a second before I turn it on though. So it does have water. It's got a motion sensor there and it's got a light inside the faucet there, I believe. Something like that. So I'll just let it run, let it get hot. Make sure we're getting hot and cold here as well. I'll pull down here, make sure that's working fine. The faucet's nice, it's not loose. Just let it run for a second. I want to get some hot water. Inspect this sink here. We've got type of a farm type sink, a farm basin type sink here. So I'll just look down the sides of it, make sure it's not cracked or anything. We'll check all cabinets. We'll open the cabinets, the doors on the cabinets, the upper cabinets. Make sure everything is nice and tight and connected good.
And what about the receptacles here?
Should have GFCI receptacles. In all of the kitchen countertops.
Yeah.
Any receptacles over the countertop in the kitchen should be GFCI protected.
And that protects you from getting shocked.
It's an electrical safety.
Yeah.
Protects you from getting shocked, correct. You don't want to have a spill or something, let's say in a blender or whatever it may be, a toaster, and something spills, and then we've got a potentially dangerous situation there. And so these are designed to cut the electricity.
Yeah, because water and electricity don't mix.
Don't mix.
Mm. Let's test it. Let's see what happens.
Absolutely. So we've got good electrical, no electrical errors. And so there it was there. So sometimes the trick can be locating these things. So you always got to have your ears ready to figure out which direction it came from.
That's right.
And so I'll continue that in the kitchen, and I'll test all outlets in the kitchen.
Yep.
So for testing the microwave, I just get a little bit of water in a glass here, and I just put it in the microwave and I let it run for 30 seconds just to see if it heats my water up.
All right.
It's always fun trying to figure out how these microwaves work. When you go through so many different microwaves, some are easy to start and some not so easy to start. This warming center here, let me see if seems to be working. I'm not going to sit here and measure, let it come up to temperature and measure the heat. I can actually feel some heat in here right now. My hand, you can feel some heat coming out in there. Okay. And so I'm not going to test the temperature to see, but I'm just going to go ahead and turn that off. And it appears to be working to me. I can, like I said, it produced some heat fairly quickly. Yep. And so just be careful here that I don't burn myself. And that is hot. Absolutely warm.
Nice.
30 seconds. So. Microwave appears to be working. The stoves, we got a gas stove here, so I'm going to operate every burner. I'm going to make sure every burner is operating. Yeah. I'm going to turn my vent fed on here also. Let me get this on. Get my lights on. Okay. So the fans are working, okay? And so before I start with too much gas, I want to make sure I got my fans working. Yep. And so I'm just going to work every burner. I'm just going to turn them on.
And this looks like the oven here.
The oven, yeah. I'll give the oven just enough time to where I start to feel some heat in it, and I'll turn it off. I'm not going to let it come up to 300 degrees or anything. I'll turn it on, give it 5 minutes. I'll feel some heat. I'm going to turn it off. Yep. Because if I walk away, I'm going to leave the home, and the oven's going to be on all day.
Yeah, that's not good. You know who's done that? I've done that.
So the burners are fine. The flame pattern is inspected. The flame pattern is fine on all of these burners. So I'll go ahead and shut those off. Okay. We got another lower oven over here. Always make sure nothing's in the oven. Yeah. I've turned them on before in a new build, and there's plastic and the packaging
instructions.
Yeah. They're in the oven, and I've turned the oven on.
Yeah.
So definitely want to make a look. And they have cardboard. Now they have like cardboard and stuff in it. And I'm turning the oven on 350.
Like, what's that smell?
So let me turn these off up here. So we've just got switches. We want to make sure our lights are working and all of our fans are working up here, okay? All of these are working. This switch here honestly seems to not be working. Right. So we've got one here, identical switch, turns the fan on this side here. But not that side. Right, but this side here, this fan switch doesn't work. Right. So that's going to be written on the report.
There's a lot of grease there too.
It is. There's a lot of buildup of grease in there. So we're going to recommend cleaning. You don't want any grease fires or anything to happen as grease starts to build up. So we're just in there. I'm simply just going to recommend cleaning for that system there. Yeah.
But whenever you find a defect like that, like the fan doesn't work, do you make recommendations in your report on what to do next? Like who should fix it or how?
In my reports, I do. Yeah. I recommend in the kitchen, and this one has to do with appliance, I'll just recommend an appliance repair person. It depends on what the defect is.
Not a handyman.
No, handyman.
Yeah, this is something.
I never put handyman in my report. That's never. It doesn't exist.
Nothing.
Right.
No offense, but like we need an appliance technician.
Correct. We need an appliance technician, someone who knows what they're doing to come in and specializes in appliances because they're not all created equal. Yeah. Some appliances like these gas flames, they require fine adjustment to get the right amount of gas flowing through those.
Yeah, and this is a high-end
appliance. We have high-end appliances in this kitchen, so definitely not going to recommend a handyman come in and touch these. Okay. Continuing over, I'll inspect the refrigerator as well. I don't necessarily check the temperature. I will check that the freezer is colder than the refrigerator, that it's really cold. We got ice in here, so we know we're below freezing in here.
Have you ever seen a refrigerator this big? This is huge.
I have seen this one before.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And cooling over here, so it's cold.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Refrigerator appears to be working fine.
Okay.
The same as the outlets that are over the countertops.
Yep.
Any outlets that are on an island should also be GFCI protected.
Yeah.
Should be connected to this circuit somewhere. Yeah. Okay, so I've got one here. I'm going to go ahead and test it the same way I tested every other outlet.
Yep. There's a sink here too, so that's even doubly
also
important.
Another sink here, correct.
Oh, wow. I heard that way over here.
That was far away, so I'm going to have to go look for that one. That one wasn't even in the kitchen.
I think I found it.
At the butler's pantry area here. So correct.
So right there, you just reset that button there.
Absolutely.
And this is good information for the homeowner, because sometimes they don't know.
Right.
I've met many homeowners where they call me up after I do the inspection. And they're like, the bathroom receptacles don't work.
Right.
Like, no, they work. You just need to find the reset button.
Yeah, and I've had that same issue where they're calling electricians out saying these outlets don't work. And the electrician finds out, well, your GFCI tripped.
Yeah.
And so I always try to explain that to buyers, especially buyers, that they know how their home functions. Especially
a lot of first-time home buyers don't. They don't know anything.
Correct.
That's okay, but
we're here to inform them.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So while we're here, another wine refrigerator here. Feels cold, nice and cold in there.
Yeah.
So that's about my inspection for that.
Cool.
Countertop, I'll do my same countertop inspection here. I'm going to recommend some caulking here. We got some cracking of the caulking over there along the wall.
Got it.
Okay. Inspecting the cabinetry the same way as I did in the kitchen. Ben, would you mind doing the upper cabinets?
Sure.
Since you're here. There you go. Thank you.
You got it.
Operate fine. Same for the cabinets. We'll open every one of them.
All right, Chris, there's a fireplace in the house. What do you do here?
We've got a gas fireplace here. So I'm just going to visually inspect the mantle, the hearth, make sure none of it's damaged. Before I even get to it, I start outside and I work my way in. I'm just going to look around here. Mantle looks fine. The stone around here, everything is intact. None of it's cracked. Inspect the hearth. I see these cracked all the time.
I see something over here.
Okay, so we've got some small damage to the tile there.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. That's a bit an easy fix. I don't even think that they could probably get them in there, caulk it in, make it look really nice for them.
This isn't like, you're not an alarmist. You're a practical person. Like this is something that could be fixed at a later date. It's not
right. It's not going to go as I have my reports are broken down into categories. And so red for me are more hazardous conditions. It's going to go as a recommended repair. Okay.
This is not hazardous.
Not at all.
Okay.
No cracks here.
Yep.
Sometimes I have plants that sit on here and they cause discoloration of these from being watered for years sitting on top of the stone. And you may see a circle there after the plant's been removed. So I look for those. This is a gas insert fireplace.
So you can't throw logs in there.
No, you can't throw logs there. You actually won't even be able to open this glass. Let me see. Okay. And so I inspect under these systems. I look to make sure they're clean, for one. Homes with pets, these things will be full of hair, full of pet hair, full of cobwebs, things like that. And so I look to make sure it's clean because you don't want any of that to eventually affect the system. And if someone needs to get in there and adjust the gas or anything or do any maintenance on it, you want that area to be clean.
Right.
Okay. I do see that the gas is open.
There's gas line.
Gas
shut-off valve.
Yes, shut-off valve. We got our fireplace mechanism there.
Yep.
And there's no controls down here, which tells me that the control is going to be outside of here. It looks like a small remote type system there. So I do see a switch over here. So I'm going to go ahead and operate this.
Sure.
And it should operate. I do hear the pilot light clicking, and there's our fireplace there.
Yep.
And so it's producing heat. I don't necessarily leave them on a long time. Once at this point, to me, it's operating.
Right.
The flame looks fine.
Right.
And so I'll go ahead and shut it off.
Yep.
The fogging of the glass is normal. That happens a lot when you turn these on. Almost all of these systems of glass will fog, but then it'll clear right up.
It'll clear right up, yep. After it turns on for a while.
Yeah.
Great.
I do feel a little bit of heat coming out of there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get this back.
Yep. Wow, this is a beautiful floor.
It is. They've got their floor epoxy, but there's one issue with epoxy floor.
Yeah.
It doesn't allow me to see the floor.
Yeah.
So for that reason, this will be a limitation for me.
Yes.
Limited. It kind of I'll write on my report that I was unable to see the garage floor. Sometimes you can see large cracks through these, but a lot of times this epoxy, especially with this pattern and this texture, will hide previous cracks that may have been there before this was done.
Yep.
Okay. Any large, huge cracks, of course, would eventually show through the epoxy, but it's got to have to really have something going on before you can see it through this epoxy.
Okay.
I do, first off, I see a vacuum, whole home vacuum system. That is excluded from the home inspection and will not be tested or inspected today.
Okay.
Okay. I will ask the homeowner if it operates and if they think that it needs some maintenance, if they recommend getting it repaired.
Yeah.
I did see a couple of these through the home, some of these outlets.
Yep.
Okay. We've got windows in here. I'll do my same window inspection that I do throughout the home. Open up the window. These look like they haven't been opened in a while. They are full of things. But it operates fine. So no issues with this window. The panes all seem to be intact.
And we're looking for like cracked glass.
Cracked glass, fogged glass.
Which is, like you said before, it's difficult to find.
It is, especially on a day like this. It's difficult on a sunny day.
Yeah.
When you got an overcast day, when it's when it's actually raining, it's even harder to see.
Yeah.
Okay. So the floor seems to be fine. I'm not noticing any major issues with the floor.
It looks like it's sloping away.
It is.
There's more space there than there.
Right, and that's so any spills, water, things that happen in the garage will flow towards the front of the garage without really having to do anything.
Yep.
I do inspect the ceiling, the firewall, which is the integrity of this wall leading into the home. This wall should be intact to prevent exhaust fumes or things like that from making their way through the walls and into the home.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Especially if sometimes people leave their vehicles running to warm up in the garage.
Yeah.
There should be a carbon monoxide detector very closely located inside the home. Thank you.
I don't see there's the wall units.
Yeah,
There,
I actually like to test mine from the wall unit.
Okay, yeah.
I kind of exclude handheld remotes from our report.
Right.
Because a lot of times they're not even there.
Yeah.
They're in the car of the owner or they're just simply not there.
Right.
So I actually use the wall button to test my garage doors.
Okay.
Because those are there and they kind of have to be there.
Yeah.
These, I see we have automatic garage doors. So I will test both doors.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and open those up now.
Okay.
While they're opening, I'm listening.
Yeah. What are you listening for?
Smooth operation.
Right.
Any loud bangs or jolts that the doors may make. These are pretty quiet.
That's
so,
nice.
And they came up smoothly. They came up all the way. They didn't struggle. There were no jerks, jerky movements. It was a smooth open all the way through. Okay.
I don't see anything damaged either.
Right. The rack, the rails all seem to be good. The door itself seems to be in good shape. We've got sectional aluminum type doors, which is the norm for most of America. Garage doors. Okay.
And what are those down there?
Those are your sensors. So they're there to detect if anything is in the path of the door.
Yeah.
It should interrupt that sensor. We want to make sure, for one, they're not too high. We want them kind of low to the ground and make sure that they operate. So I'm going to operate each door individually, and I'm going to come over here and just stick my foot in front of the laser and make sure that that triggers the door to reverse.
Just like if there was a little kid.
Absolutely.
Go in underneath the garage door while it's moving.
Right. We want that safety something device to stop that door.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's do this door here.
All right. Can I do the foot thing?
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, it worked.
And let's do the other one.
All right. Now, Chris, while I'm doing this, I noticed that, there's just a bunch of stuff all over the sensors. And if they're supposed to be reading each other,
They could,
maybe
right?
cleaning up the
Yeah. So
cobwebs
we'll
or spider
recommend
webs.
cleaning those sensors off because
Yeah.
they are dirty.
Yeah.
Cobwebs, dust, they're really starting to get could affect that laser
Yep.
eventually. I do see some cracking on this frame here.
Okay.
To me, this is not a major concern. This board here is part of the garage door support. This isn't structural. It's not part of the home. Okay, this is here to support this beam here. This has large bolts going in. It's just cracked a little bit here, so not a major concern to me. Okay. So overall, I think this garage is in excellent condition.
I see behind you a GFCI.
GFCI, correct. So just as in the kitchen, all the outlets in the garage should be GFCI protected.
Okay.
And I'm more of a guy who likes to use pockets, so I don't use the belt where everybody has things like this. Right. I like to have a lot of pockets, and I'm more of, if I can fit everything in all, that's why I have cargo pockets. So to me, the belt's uncomfortable. Right. I can't do it. No. I tried it, like this big belt, and you got to walk around all day with it.
Right.
Yeah, I said, give me some cargo pants.
That's right.
And the few tools I need at that time, I just put them in my pockets.
Yeah.
And if I need something else, I go back to my bag and I'll switch out my pockets for something.
As a home inspector doing the whole home inspection, you only need a few things.
Yeah, there's very few things that we use all the time.
Right.
And so to me, a big belt full of things is excess. Right. I can get the few things in my pockets. Yeah. So that's why you see me in my pockets a lot.
That makes sense.
All outlets in the garage should be GFCI protected. Yep. So I'm not going to test this outlet. Okay. I'm going to go to an outlet that should be paralleled into this outlet. I'm going to test that outlet and test it trips over here. Okay. And so I'll
reset it.
I do see that this outlet is labeled. Sometimes you'll see that the outlets are labeled. They have little tags on them. They say GFCI receptacle, just as a identification that it is a GFCI receptacle.
Yep.
And so it's
over here.
And that one did turn the garage door off as well. So I'm going to test this side over here. I believe we got another one here.
Okay. I'll reset it by pushing it back in.
And let's check our outlet, make sure we're good. And it's back on. We're good. Right. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing over here because I saw that this garage door opener did not shut off with that one. Okay. And so it's tied into this circuit, and this should as well also should be GFCI. All right. Okay. And it is.
Yeah, watch that.
And that should go to a solid green. Okay, we're all good. Right. So that's it for the garage. Garage is in good shape.
Okay. All right, let's move on. All right, we're gonna go upstairs, but you do a stairway inspection?
Yes, sir. Every stairway is inspected. Visually, we should have our treads should have about the same amount of height between the risers. The risers should all be of equal height. You don't want to see any risers greater than about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch difference.
Right.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're stumbling all over the place.
It really can create a fall hazard. Yep. In your mind, your body gets set to a certain step level. Yeah. And if one's different and you get there and you're expecting to land at a certain level and your foot continues, it can throw you off balance. Yeah. And on a staircase, you don't want to come tumbling down the whole staircase. No. Also, we're going to inspect the handrails, make sure they're nice and secure. The spindles, we give them a nice, I just run my fingers along them as I go up, make sure they're nice and tight. Which they are. This is a larger staircase, so you're going to have a little bit of play in it, but I kind of judge for the staircase and the design how tight it should be, okay? To me, this is fine. So at a minimum, we would like to see the same amount of play or no play. Yeah. I mean, we don't really want to see much play at all in a handrail. But if one is a lot more than the other, like shaking this one and shaking this one is noticeably looser than this one.
I'm a big fella. I think
you'll feel uncomfortable on there?
Yeah. There's a little bit of tolerance for every railing, but I think I'd
call that one loose.
Yeah, I'd want to know about that.
I agree with you, especially since it's looser than this side. Yeah. You can give this side a shake, you'll feel the difference in it. The stairs are fine. I'm coming up, I'm inspecting the treads. They're all fine. I don't see any cracked or broken treads as we make our way up the stair. The guardrail height should be at a minimum of 36 inches. This, I have a tape measure that I measure, but this is fine. Yeah. This is of a fine height. I don't think I need to measure this to verify.
Yep. And the handrail is continuous all the way down. It doesn't break.
Correct.
And it's graspable.
Yes, it's not too wide.
Yeah.
Very good, very graspable hand railing here.
And the spindles in the guard
should be less than 4 inches.
Yeah, so we don't have anybody, like small kids, falling through the guard.
Correct.
So that's good.
And so the handrail / guardrail here seems to be fine.
Yep. All right, let's do the attic, and it's in the ceiling.
It is. So let's head up to the attic. I'm going to pull this down and we'll head up. I like to first just look at our attic access, make sure it looks good. As I pull this down, I'm going to look at the insulation on it, make sure it's insulated and that it operates fine. So the operation coming down was smooth. We do have insulation on it. So that's good, as it should be. Let's pull this down. I like to make sure all the bolts, everything's nice and tight. The ladder itself is sturdy, doesn't need to be tightened up. A lot of times you'll find that these bolts have come loose. It's really shaky. You'll see a lot of times missing insulation. That helps to maintain that temperature difference between the attic and the inside of the home. You don't want anything in your home having being uninsulated, especially from the attic, because it's the warmest part of the home and it can just become like a little heater right here if it's not insulated. So I'll head on up and then we'll look at the attic.
Sounds good. Okay, so we're in the attic, Chris. What do you see?
Well, first off, I see first thing I saw was we got another furnace.
Yep.
Another gas-fired furnace. Another shutoff here.
Yeah.
So every furnace should have its own shutoff.
Yeah.
Should have a disconnect switch.
Yep.
So we got another disconnect switch here and labeled furnace on the 2x4.
Yep.
We've also got a tankless water heater in the attic.
Yep.
Which you don't see in the attic very often. But to me, the setup's fine. They've got a drain pan here. So this drain pan is going to catch any discharge from the temperature pressure relief valve, which is right here on the bottom. You've got your water adjustment here. The system's on, and everything's plumbed into a drainage line. So
you don't have a big conventional storage tank for this house?
In this home, no. It's going to be on demand. So when you turn the water on, it's going to then produce the hot water at that time.
Yep.
Pros and cons, everything.
Yep.
Right? Some people say, oh, it takes a while for it to recognize hot water. Or if you don't turn on enough flow, if it's a smaller faucet, it never registers the flow and it doesn't turn on.
Yeah.
Or the time it takes to get the hot water to that system, depending on the location.
Yeah.
But you have that the same with tanked water heater systems.
Yep.
To me, the system is mounted well.
Yeah.
We've got an exhaust vent for the combustion going up through the ceiling up there. I can't see the boot here, but I do see that it's seems to be mounted well. We've got wraps here, ties here. We got one in the middle and another one up top
to
give that some support.
Nice.
Absolutely. So we got good support on that. The system has its gas line coming in. We got copper line. We got a drip leg.
And that catch pan is the same catch pan that's underneath the furnace. It's there to catch water. Like we saw that down in the basement. Same kind of concern that there's water up here. And if it ever leaks, we don't want it to go into the ceiling below.
We don't want this getting into the home. That's why also this pan also has a drain here.
Yeah.
This one got a couple redundant systems here. We got a drain pan with a drain, one external. We've also got another float disconnect switch there, which will also shut the system off if water is detected.
Nice.
As we look up, we start to see the roof framing. This is a wood beam type of construction. It's not done with
trusses.
Trusses, right. This is not a truss system. This is just a wood beam type of construction.
Yeah. Stick.
Stick, yeah. Stick, like stick basically.
Stick built.
Looking at the underside of the roof sheathing, we've got OSB sheathing here.
Yep.
I don't see any obvious signs of water leaking.
Yeah.
We're limited in this attic to this platform that we're standing on. We're not going to go off of this platform to inaccessible areas. Right. Out here into the majority of the attic, it's not walkable. It's inaccessible. It's covered with a loose fill, loose blown insulation. Me personally, I don't like to see joists when the insulation's there. I want to make sure that insulation, at a minimum, is covering the joist. We want to maintain a certain depth.
So when you look out there, all you want to see is insulation.
Right. And when it's white, I tell somebody it looks like a blanket of snow.
Snow, yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't
Real
be
thick.
disturbed. You don't want to see footprints in it. You don't want to see where it's been disturbed.
Or mouse tracks. Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because that can reduce the efficiency of the insulation if it's been disturbed.
Yeah, the thicker it is, the better.
Always.
Yeah.
We do have measurement labels out in the field out there
Yeah.
that you can see. This
Yep.
one seems to be at about 16 inches
Yeah, that's nice.
of depth,
Yeah.
which is good.
Really good.
Sometimes I'll compare them to your insulator's label here
Yeah.
to make sure that what they've written on there, and I believe it should be around 13 inches minimum. So yeah, we got walls 13, 19, 3.5, 6. They've got 12.5, 12 to 25. So we want to make sure that we don't see anything less than 12 anywhere up here. And like I said, this one over here, what is that? I believe that's
Looks like it's at 12.
closer to 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see that joist beam in there.
Yep.
So we may have a little bit of disturbance there and a little, right there you can see pretty far down it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to recommend that they add a little bit of insulation
Right,
there.
right.
It's a little low in that area. Out
Right.
there you can't see anything.
Yep.
So we can't go any further than this.
And what do you see here, this manifold?
So here we have a gas manifold. We got a main supply coming in here, feeding 2 manifolds. One is here, and it goes into the furnace here, feeds right here.
Yep.
And the other one is plumbed in copper, which is feeding our tankless water heater right
Nice.
there. Absolutely. And so I'll also get, for the water heaters, the same as I did for the air conditioned condensers, the furnace units. I'll take a picture of the data tag,
Yeah.
the serial number.
Yeah.
All of that tag, you get a photo of that inside the report.
It's really helpful.
Absolutely. If any service needs to be done or they just want to know what their system is, they can always refer to that model number and serial number that's in their report.
Yeah. When you call for service, they always say, well, what's the model or serial number?
Right. And
on
they'll
the
have
phone.
that.
Now you have it in your report.
And they won't have to come back up in the attic looking for it, going outside. And a lot of homeowners, they're not going to know where to find that information anyway.
So
They're
your
gonna say, "I don't
report is like a home maintenance book, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really
I
good.
do give recommendations as well of some things that should be done.
Yep.
So we're in the shower here. For the shower inspection, I'll go inside and operate all levers, all fixtures inside of here. Make sure that we're getting hot water and that each lever diverts the water to a different shower head. I do see some issues here with this shower. I see evidence of moisture in the tile work here, and some cracking here. And so this to me tells me that we've got some moisture inside of this. It's black. The mortar here has started to discolor from moisture penetration. And I also see where it looks like it's been re-siliconed over there, potentially of a known issue. On this side over here, we've got some black potential organic growth starting on the trim here. Evidence of a lot of water escaping the shower. I can even get my finger through there. So I would bet anything that during shower time, there's some water coming out here. So we definitely want to recommend repairs in this area and further evaluation by a qualified contractor in this area. So we also have a jetted tub here. Definitely going to test this jetted tub. We're going to fill it with water. We're going to turn those jets on. We're going to let it run 5 to 10 minutes. Make sure that no leaks develop under the tub, that the system continues to run for 10 minutes and that it doesn't trip out or short or anything. We're going to operate the cold and hot water while we fill it. Then while it's running, I'm going to remove this access panel, look under the jetted tub while it's running and listen for that motor. See how it sounds. See if anything's leaking from up under after about 5 minutes of running. I'm going to test the toilet here. Let's flush the toilet, make sure it operates fine, check for looseness. The fan. Everything seems to be fine. This toilet does have a bidet on it. That will not be tested by me. It's beyond the scope of a home inspection.
I tested it. It's okay. I noticed something.
Missing smoke detector.
Yep.
This room has 2 detectors. Little overkill for me, but since it's there, or one's there and one's missing, we're definitely going to recommend that they add a smoke detector there.
Yeah.
Maybe in this home they had a smoke and a carbon in this room, not sure, but we don't want to see anything missing where a detector should be. And so as we walk into the laundry room, we want to inspect this room, especially for the laundry room. We want to start with the metal vent, the electrical dryer outlet, and the washer outlet, the washer supplies. Now this is loose. During operation, when that machine is running or filling, these are going to vibrate. So I'm going to recommend this get tightened up. We don't want to put any stress on that PVC tube that's holding on. This should be mounted inside the wall.
And the washer's here, and it's probably, there was a pan here, and then they attached that pan to the drain.
Right, we've got a floor drain here for the washing machine. And so that pan drains into this here so that any water that gets into that pan, if there's an issue with the washing machine, should flow out of the home and not flood your laundry room.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a sink in here. I'm just going to test it the same as we tested every other sink in the home, and the drawers and cabinets.
The floor looks good.
Floor does look good. I don't see any major damage to the floor. Window, inspected just like all other windows. I do see a little bit here at the bottom. We've got just a little bit of trim falling off, coming off here.
Stripping there.
Yeah, just a little weather strip in here. Nothing much. It fits right back up in there, but I'll debate if I put that on the report or not. Sometimes, I don't want to be too picky. The home is 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
So minor things may not make the report. I usually try to stick to functionality.
Yeah.
How the home operates, make sure all the systems are working good.
Yeah.
And not bloat my report with 60, 70 items of small things like
little
that.
things, yeah.
Okay. So let me run the water a little bit more. Let's make sure I get hot water here and that we have no leaks. When I'm checking for leaks, I like to run my hands along the tube and just feel for any moisture.
Yep.
I felt some moisture there for a second, but proven to be nothing.
No.
Yeah. The test function. Got hot there. That's nice and hot. Nice and sturdy. It moves. No issue there.
There may have been a leak in the past. There's a little bit of minor damage to the cabinet.
Yep, in the back there. Or that could have been from things they had stored in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm imagine they got a lot of laundry detergents.
Yeah.
Being in this area or cleaning chemicals. Could have been a spill from that.
Yep.
Absolutely. Further inspecting the home, we found some smoke detectors that have the batteries removed. You should replace your batteries every year in smoke detectors. They may last a little longer, but you want to be on the safe side. You want to make sure you replace them before they lose their effectiveness. So we recommend replacing batteries once a year. Also, if your smoke detectors have begun to turn yellow, that's an indication of age. Those are older smoke detectors. They may not detect as accurately as they should, so they should always be replaced when they start to turn yellow. One other thing we inspect as home inspectors, sometimes we like to get out and see what we can in the ductwork. Pull a register up and take a look in there. A lot of people may have sensitivities to indoor air quality, so we want to check that for them. Down here, this one's full of old pet hair and sawdust and who knows what. So going to recommend the ductworks be cleaned in this home if that's something that they want.
All right, Chris, we did a full home inspection. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
we found some problems.
We did.
There's a few things on the outside with water and gutters and dense vegetation, and on the inside, not too many problems, but there are a few things.
A few minor issues. Yeah. Some things we found around the bathtub in the primary bathroom with some water issues around the shower, and some other things, smoke detectors, small issues on the inside. Yeah,
and you're going to put all those items that you inspected, good and bad, in your inspection report. And you use, what software do you use?
I use Spectora. Great software. It allows me the opportunity to kind of color code my issues. Red being the most severe, orange being just recommendations, and blue being just kind of maintenance FYI.
So your reports are pretty easy to read.
I believe they are. I think they're one of the easiest to read. I get nothing but positive feedback from them.
And if I was a client of yours and we did an inspection, I was walking around with you, you're showing me everything, when would I get the inspection report?
I get my inspection reports out within 24 hours.
That's
I guarantee a 24-hour report, with exceptions of Saturday inspections.
Yeah.
Saturday inspections are, of course, going to come out on Monday.
Okay. And if I ordered something in addition to a home inspection, let's say I called you up and I wanted a home inspection and a radon and a pool inspection, you do those?
I do. Everything is scheduled on my website. I don't personally do those services, but they're contracted out through my company. So I take responsibility for them. I schedule all of those and I bring the reports delivered to you.
You're a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop. Everything you need, you can get it at TRG Home Inspection.
That's great. And again, you are a general contractor?
I am active licensed general contractor right now.
So not only do you know how to inspect a home, you know how to build them and repair them.
I know how to build, how the systems should work, and how everything should be with a home from the foundation to the roof.
Not every home inspector is a GC.
Not every home inspector, correct. That's something in addition to being a licensed home inspector.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time. I think you must spend, are you going to spend all day at this house? This is a big house.
This inspection, I will be here the rest of the day. I've blocked out my calendar because I like to take my time.
Yeah.
I don't rush. A home of this size is going to take me at least 4 hours, and then I've still got my report to do.
Yeah.
So I don't schedule another home with a home of this size.
Yeah.
On a smaller home, less than 3,000 square feet, I can do 2 of those in a day.
Okay.
I like to take my time and dedicate the time that's needed to each home and not rush through anything.
I think your clients appreciate that.
They do.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It was a great inspection.
Yeah.
You're a really good inspector.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Ben from Internachi,
And I'm Chris from TRG Home Inspection.
and we'll see you on the next home inspection. Bye, everybody.